Hey, it's me, Hazelnut, and I'm even decent at wiring. Don't ask what that is. Don't ask what that right there is. That is something that I'm doing for another thing, for a skit. Anyway, so the thing is, I'm pretty decent at the wiring in this game. Like, if I get one of these guns, welcome to my laboratory. Sort of. I'm testing stuff up here. Anyway, I'd like to teach you some of my knowledge that doesn't exactly exist. So, I'm gonna make a door. So, let me show you all the basic things. We got the small wire, the long wire. They call it the hidden wire, but it obviously isn't. This thing, button, power thing, purple, more purple, more purple. And you guessed it, we got door. We got all this stuff. Now I'm gonna teach you what this stuff does over here. So, let's say, alright, we're gonna start with this. Short wire. So, this is the short wire. It costs about 20 buck coins. And I don't know how much stuffing it costs, because this is in creative. Anyway, this is the short wire, and it can be used for many craps. Like, let's say... Oh, hold on, there's also some more blocks. We got the note block, which most of you probably didn't know was a wiring block, but it does count as a wiring block because of that thing right there. Whoa. We don't talk about that. And we also have the screaming skull, which counts as a wiring block because, like I said, a note block, we're going to need wires. So what we're going to do, you see this little hole, we're going to put the redstone there, and we're going to take one of these things. Personally, I like to use these because they're just better. Let's get a big button. There are other buttons, but I like this one because it's cool. This thing has two little plugs. It's got one down there, and it's got one over right here. There are some with more plugs though. So we're gonna use the 2-plug one. We're gonna take this little metal part, this gray part, and we're gonna connect that to the wiring. And you should hear that sound. So now we can hit this, and it plays the note. Now we can hit this with almost about anything. We can. Let's go into weapons. We can hit it with an explosive bomb, a snowball, a frisbee, I think. I said a frisbee, I think. Bat. The pellet gun. You name it. Just not impulse bombs or freeze bombs. They don't do anything. I don't think portal balls do anything. Yeah, they don't. So, crap that explodes. Yeah, I'm pretty sure even regular bombs do something. Yeah, they do something. But the radius is really loud. Or you're just bare hand. Yeah, so this is better than doing this. Let's say we don't want it to happen. Well, you're probably thinking, well, if it just happens once you hit the button, what's the point of having the thing? And why can't I just hit it? What's the point of having the button if I can just hit it? What's the point of having all these buttons and wiring if I can just hit the block? Well, shut up. Oh, you see, we call these this is the purple blocks. I don't have all of them though. I'm trying to collect them all. But anyway, this block right here. This and this are basically the same thing. This is a pulse extender, I think, and this is a pulse delay. We need a pulse delay. So, we'll get one. We know that it looks like that because of the T. And then we hit this. Frick, wrong. This is the pulse delay. Make sure you put it in right, or else it'll freaking hate you. This is the pulse delay. This is used to delay different things. Like, when you hear this, okay, I'm gonna hit this button, and you're gonna hear a tick. Hear the tick, didn't you? And you guessed it, the more of those that we have, the longer the delay is gonna be. So let's get another one of these. And so forth and so on. So we can, like, put this all the way over here. And this is gonna take a freaking eternity to turn on. This is gonna take a freaking eternity to turn on. That could actually be, this could be used for things like a ticking thing in like a Jeopardy game or something like that. And the fun part is, you can paint it all a different color. So like, let's say we want this color to be that, we want this to be orange, we want this to be yellow, we want this to be brown, we want this to be dark brown, we want this to be green, we want this to be gray, we want this to be black, and we want this to be neon green, neon yellow, and that is going to be purple. It still works. It still works. So, that's what this thing does. What does this thing do? And what does this thing do? These are both the same thing. Even though they have different things on the top, they do the same exact thing. And what does this thing do? Well, let's get one of these instead of stealing it. That would be rude. Block. Somebody in my house. Block. So let's get a screaming skull. This thing. Now, if you don't know what this does, I have like 2 of them in my world. This thing, if you hit it, what we're gonna do, notice, okay, I'm gonna place this here. And now I'm going to place a button all the way over here. I think that's a line. Yeah, it is. Now I'm going to place a whole bunch of short wires. Specifically short wires. Now, I myself have played Minecraft before. And I know that with redstone, you need a couple things, like a couple other blocks to get it to travel the whole way. But will this still power? But notice how that took incredibly long. But if I take one of these out, I'm telling you, this is gonna act like if it was okay, let's try this again. That's a pulse extender. That crap acted like it took a millennium, but it didn't. And I'm gonna play the last clip. That was faster than this. But it doesn't tick. It's a smaller version of that. It's a smaller version of this. Now this thing. I'm gonna get one of these. Let's get rid of all these. Frick. Let's get rid of all these. But instead, we place blocks. This won't work. If I were to do that, then yeah, you can't do that. It doesn't like that. This is the pulse extender, which I genuinely don't know the reason that it exists. It's basically just, instead of placing a crap ton of redstone, you can place this thing to make it look more authentic, I guess. Which doesn't make much sense because there's a more aggravating small one. Oh, and by the way, you can still paint every single one of these a different color, and it'll still do the same thing that it's supposed to do. That one screams like a child. Don't ask how I know that. So that's what this thing does, but what do these 2 things do? Well, if you play Minecraft, this is basically just a redstone block. And so is this. So yeah, that's a cool fact. That's a cool fact. Here, I'm gonna show you something. These two are very different. This has it on those sides, and this has it on a different two sides. This has it like that. I call this the L, and I call this the parallel. Get it? L, parallel. Get it? I actually don't either. Basically, these are like redstone blocks. So let's say I'm gonna get some wires as well. So let's say I'm going to power a gnome question mark. Alright. I could take the parallel and place a button. Make sure it's connected. And power on the gnome. Or, instead of that, I could use short wires. I said short wires and a button with a gnome question mark to do the exact same thing. So it's basically just a debunked version of that. I have one of these things in my house. I think I have this one in my house, which is right there. It's on my desk. I'll show you in a second. And finally, the door. What does the door do? Oh wait, we need the door and this thing. So I'm gonna mix two things in one. The door and this thing. So let's place the door here. Wrong way. Let's place the door here. Now let's place some wiring. Let's place some wiring here. Some wiring here. Now let's take some long wiring. And then let's place one of these. Now when I place this here, this thing is going to turn on. Yay. Pretty gangster, right? Why'd I say that? Let's get a pulse delay. Wrong way. Wrong way again. This will make a delay. And it doesn't turn on. Which is why I like using buttons. Because that will forever be powered. I call this the forever powered block. Because it's forever powered. So that's pretty neat. But I like using buttons up here. Because it turns off eventually. And I can paint this all, like I said, whatever color I want. And it'll all still work. Hopefully I don't fall. Oh, frick. Thanks for watching this video. I don't know why I did this. Another Yeeps video. I'm gonna post this a little bit after I make another video. So yeah, subscribe. Sub to me. Monkey.